Hello everyone, this is Kona, and thank you for tuning in for another TF2 commentary. I am continuing my quest to master the arcing weapons of TF2, and I'm now working on the Scout. Now the Scout is a whole lot of fun. I actually enjoy playing Scout just with the regular scattergun, but when you combine him with his numerous arcing weapons, personally my favorite right now is the Sandman. Even though it's been out for like the longest time, it's still a lot of fun to hit people with baseballs. Now the Scout has other arcing weapons like the Flying Guillotine here, as well as the Rap Assassin, which launches, instead of a baseball, it launches a Christmas ornament and actually causes bleeding on hit, which is kind of cool, but honestly, I really enjoy the Sandman. Even the Sandman by itself, if I didn't have the Guillotine with that special perk of getting crits with the Guillotine on stun people, it's still a lot of fun stunning people. I think the reason why is because the Sandman is one of the very few weapons in TF2, if not the only weapon in TF2, that can actually cause a stun state. Now, there are other weapons that sort of cause a stun state, like the taunt for the Huntsman, right? A Huntsman sniper, when you taunt kill someone, it actually stuns them first. And as well as I think the Ubersaw medic does that as well. But this is something that you can use very quickly and kind of troll people. To me, this is kind of like a troll weapon. So if I really want to just troll the other team and start really making them mad, I just start launching baseballs at them. Now, the arcing weapons for the Scout have one major drawback that I think make it difficult for a lot of people to really master this weapon. And I think it's because of the firing delay. When using most arcing weapons, when you click the mouse button, or in the case of the Huntsman, when you let go of the mouse button, as soon as you do that, the projectile is in the air and on its way. But for the Scout weapons, it's a little bit different. There is a slight delay between the time you click and you want to fire and the time that the projectile is actually in the air. It's very, very small, but it's very noticeable if you start playing a lot of Scout, and it can be sometimes difficult to compensate for this extra delay when you're trying to hit a moving target. Now, since it's so difficult to actually hit someone with this weapon, what I recommend is going for slower targets. Slow and big targets are probably the easiest, like a heavy. A heavy is just like target practice. I just love going for heavies. But you can go for slower targets like soldiers like this. Sometimes if they're rocket jumping, it's going to be difficult, but usually soldiers are not rocket jumping too much, and so you can easily go for them. Wow, he flies pretty far. Well, it is a crit hit. If you manage to sneak up on a sniper who's scoped in, you can go for him as well. It's going to be pretty easy. Unfortunately, I missed this guy, but luckily I have my scattergun as a backup. By the way, I accidentally take this guy's health. I only had like a few hits of damage. He was on fire. I accidentally took his health. My bad. Now, what's really strange about using these arcing weapons is that for some reason, whenever I see a big mob of people, I get the impression that I'm going to have an easier time hitting people. I mean, you would think that, right? You would think, oh, there's a lot of people in front of me. I will just kind of spam it. Just hopefully I'll get a hit. I'll most likely get a hit because there's a lot of people in front of me. But for some reason, whenever I play as Scout and I'm trying to really use these arcing weapons, I always miss when there's a huge mob in front of me. I don't really get it. I think it's because I think I can hit someone and I don't really aim. The thing is, with this weapon, you have to aim. Even though you think that you're going to hit someone in a big mob, usually it doesn't work out like that. At least for me, it doesn't. It works best when I actually have one person to aim for and I go for them. So this weapon is really good one-on-one. In mobs, you might get a hit, but if you're trying to go up with the Guillotine follow-up, which I think is a lot of people are trying to do right now, is do the Sandman and Guillotine combo, you really need to pick out the one person you're going to go for and really go for them. If you hit someone with your Sandman and you hit someone else with your Guillotine, well, you didn't really take advantage of that full combination. You didn't take advantage of the special perk of the Flying Guillotine. So, you know, this weapon, this setup kind of works best, at least for me, when I'm really trying to focus down one person and not in mobs. When I'm trying to aim for a mob, I'm lucky to hit someone. Now, speaking of the Flying Guillotine, I'm having a little more difficulty trying to land a hit with the Guillotine than I am with the Sandman. I'm not sure if it has to do with the hitbox. Maybe it's the hitbox for the Sandman is bigger or something like that. But I think one of the reasons why is because I don't quite understand the trajectory of the Sandman versus the Guillotine. It seems like they're a little bit different. You know, when you're really close, it's kind of difficult to find the difference because there really is no arc to it. But when you're further away and you're trying to hit someone, I don't know, it just seems like the Guillotine has a slightly different trajectory. And one reason for that is maybe because I can't even see the trajectory. The thing with the Sandman is when you launch the baseball, you have this clear trail of where the baseball, you know, is flying through the air. And based on that, you can sort of learn its trajectory and kind of compensate for it later on. But the Flying Guillotine doesn't have a really noticeable trail. It's very hard to see. So sometimes I'm throwing it and I'm like, I guess I missed someone because I didn't hear a little ding that I hit someone. So I kind of wish Valve put a little bigger trail, a better trail, so I can actually see the Flying Guillotine and really learn its trajectory, because pretty much all other weapons have a clear trajectory to learn, you know, how to compensate for it, but the Flying Guillotine, not so much. Now, when I use the Guillotine, I try not to go for these super long swag shots. I call them swag because it's kind of like showing off. I play some fighting games, and whenever someone does a really cool combo in fighting games that looks really hard to do, it's swag. It's just for showing off. I don't do that too much with the Guillotine. What I try to do is get as close as possible to someone after I've bonked them with the Sandman. So once I've bonked someone with the Sandman, they're pretty much stunned and they can't really do anything. Sometimes if they're surrounded by teammates and stuff, you don't really want to go in there because their teammates can still kill you. But if they're all alone like this, and you stun them with the Sandman, you might as well go in there and try and get as close as possible to close the gap, because when you close that gap, you're making it easier to follow up with the Guillotine. Now, if you're still having some trouble with the arcing weapons for the Scout, I recommend going for people who are not really strafing a whole bunch side to side. People who are strafing are probably the most difficult people to hit, because you not only have to compensate for the drop in the arc, but you also have to compensate for their strafing. So I would recommend just going for people who are standing still or who are moving kind of back and forth compared to you, either moving away from you or running towards you. Those are probably the easiest people to get. Now, my question for you guys is, what is your favorite arcing weapon for the Scout? And do you have some cool tricks that you like to use with them? By the way, here, look at that. Spy standing still and I hit the pole right in front of him. What are the odds? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.